blood on white marble at midnight. That's where Daphne Roland's life splits into before and after. One moment, she's mopping floors for $16.50 an hour in a Beverly Hills luxury boutique. The next, she's staring at a crimson trail leading to a half-dead stranger who's about to drag her into a world she never knew existed. Have you ever had a split second to decide between playing it safe or doing what's right, knowing either choice could destroy your life? That moment when your brain screams, "Run," but something deeper whispers, "Stay"? That's exactly where Daphne finds herself at 11:43 p.m. on a Tuesday night that should have been ordinary. She's alone in Sinclair and Associates, surrounded by $50,000 evening gowns and handbags that cost more than her yearly salary. The kind of place where people like her are supposed to be invisible, clean quietly, leave quickly, ask no questions. She's 8 months into this job, desperately clinging to every shift because her mother's medical bills are piling up in Atlanta and her landlord just gave her 30 days to produce 2 months back rent or face eviction. Losing this job isn't an option. Getting involved in something dangerous? Even worse. But then she sees it, that dark smear trailing across the pristine floor toward the private fitting rooms. At first glance, maybe spilled wine from tonight's exclusive event. Rich people are careless like that. Except wine doesn't smell like copper. Wine doesn't glisten quite that way under crystal chandeliers. Here's where it gets real. Daphne follows that trail. Against every instinct telling her to call security, to walk away, to protect herself, she follows it. And what she discovers in fitting room 3 changes everything. A man. Korean. Early 30s. Expensive suit soaked in blood. Collapsed. Barely breathing. And when his eyes flutter open and lock onto hers, his first words aren't, "Help me" or "Call 911." There, no hospital. No police. "They'll find me. They'll finish it." Now Daphne has seconds to make a choice that will either save a stranger's life or ruin her own. She doesn't know who he is. Doesn't know who's hunting him. Doesn't know that the man bleeding out on that velvet settee is Seong-ho, cousin to one of the most powerful Korean Mafia bosses in Los Angeles. All she knows is someone's dying, and she's the only one who can help. What happens next will shock everyone, including Daphne herself. But before we get there, do me a favor. If you're already hooked on this story, hit that subscribe button and smash the like. We've got so much more coming your way. And drop a comment right now telling me where you're watching from and answer this. Would you have made the same choice Daphne did? Would you risk everything for a stranger who begs you not to call for help? Let's find out what Daphne decides. Because this choice? It's about to turn her entire world upside down. To understand why Daphne Roland makes the choice she's about to make, you need to understand her life. Every night at 10 p.m., she clocks into Sinclair and Associates' luxury boutique on Rodeo Drive. Every morning at 4 a.m., she clocks out. 6 nights a week. Alone with marble floors, designer gowns, and the kind of silence only money can buy. $16.50 an hour. That's what her life is worth to the boutique. Do the math. After taxes, that's roughly $1,980 a month for 48 hours a week. Her studio apartment in Koreatown costs $1,450. Utilities run another $150. That leaves $380 for food, transportation, and the $500 she sends to her mother in Atlanta every month. The numbers don't work. They haven't worked for 2 years. Daphne has priced every item in this boutique during her nightly cleanings. That Chanel bag by the window? $28,000. The silk evening gown on the center mannequin? $47,500. The diamond bracelet in the locked display case? $156,000. She could work every single shift for the rest of her life and never afford the cheapest scarf in this place. 3 years ago, Daphne was different. She was a nursing student at Los Angeles Community College, pulling straight A's, working toward something real. Her professors said she had natural instincts, the kind of calm under pressure that makes excellent nurses. She could read vital signs, start IVs on the first try, remember drug interactions that stumped her classmates. She was going to save lives. That was the plan. Then her mother had the stroke. It happened on a Wednesday morning in Atlanta. Daphne's younger brother called, voice shaking. Mom's in the hospital. They say it's bad. The hospital bills started immediately. $3,847 for the emergency room visit alone. Physical therapy 3 times a week at $200 per session. Medications that insurance barely covered. Her mother couldn't work anymore, couldn't even live independently. Someone had to pay for it. Someone had to send money home. Daphne withdrew from nursing school in her 3rd semester. The student loans $47,000 and counting went into deferment. She took the first job she could find that paid cash weekly, night shift cleaning at an office building downtown. That lasted 4 months before the building got sold and everyone got laid off. Then she found Sinclair and Associates. Better pay, consistent hours, health insurance after 90 days, which she desperately needed. The job required one thing above all else: be invisible. Don't interact with clients during private events. Don't ask questions about the wealthy people who shop here. Clean thoroughly, efficiently, silently. Make the boutique pristine before the morning staff arrives, then disappear like you were never there. Daphne learned quickly that being invisible was a survival skill. Rich people don't see the cleaning staff. They discuss business deals in front of her like she's furniture. They leave messes, spilled champagne, lipstick-stained tissues, price tags ripped off clothes, expecting someone else to handle it. They never say thank you. They rarely make eye contact. Being invisible kept her safe, kept her employed, kept the money flowing to Atlanta where her mother needed it. Last week, Daphne received 2 pieces of mail that represented her current reality. First, a notice from her landlord. 2 months behind on rent. Pay $2,900 within 30 days or face eviction. Second, a bill from her mother's neurologist. $1,200 for the latest round of tests. Insurance denied coverage. She sat on her apartment floor that night, staring at those papers, doing mental calculations. Even if she skipped meals, even if she walked to work instead of taking the bus, even if she sold everything she owned, the numbers still didn't work. She needed this job. Needed every single shift. Her father would have told her to keep fighting. He died when Daphne was 15, shot during a robbery at the grocery store where he worked security. The news called him a hero. The store paid for his funeral and gave her mother a $500 gift card. He died protecting strangers for $11.50 an hour. Her mother told her later, voice bitter with grief. They called him a hero, baby. But heroes are just poor people who can't afford to run. That lesson stuck with Daphne. Don't be a hero. Keep your head down. Survive. So when she sees blood on the marble floor at 11:43 p.m., every instinct tells her to call Trevor, the security guard who patrols the building's exterior. Let him handle it. Let someone else take the risk. But Daphne also remembers her nursing school training. Remembers the oath she almost took. First, do no harm. She remembers what it feels like to have potential that poverty won't let you reach. She remembers her father's face, how he smiled even when the world was crushing him, how he chose to protect people even when nobody protected him. And maybe, just maybe, she's tired of being invisible. Maybe she's tired of playing it safe while her life slowly falls apart anyway. So when she follows that blood trail toward fitting room 3, she's not just following curiosity. She's following the last shred of who she used to be before survival became her only goal. She's about to find out if that person still exists. 11:43 p.m. Daphne's mop hits something wet. Not water. Not cleaning solution. Something thicker. She stops mid-stroke, staring down at the dark smear spreading across the white marble. Her first thought, red wine from tonight's private event. Some wealthy guest probably knocked over their glass, and the catering staff missed it during cleanup. But when she leans closer, her stomach drops. The smell hits her first, metallic, organic, unmistakable. Then the texture. The way it catches the light from the crystal chandelier overhead, reflecting differently than wine would. Blood. Fresh blood. Daphne's grip tightens on the mop handle. Her heart rate spikes. She glances toward the boutique's front windows where Trevor, the security guard, should be doing his rounds. But he's outside, probably checking the other storefronts in the building. She's alone. Protocol says call security immediately. Report anything unusual. Let trained professionals handle it. But Daphne has learned something working minimum wage in Beverly Hills. When you're a black woman in a luxury boutique, even calling for help can backfire. Questions follow. Suspicions form. Why didn't you notice it sooner? How do we know you didn't cause this? Were you touching merchandise you shouldn't have been touching? Sometimes reporting problems creates more problems than staying quiet. She follows the trail with her eyes. It leads from behind the mahogany display case toward the back of the boutique, toward the private fitting rooms where VIP clients try on gowns that cost more than cars. Daphne sets down her mop, pulls out her phone. Her thumb hovers over Trevor's number. But curiosity wins. Or maybe it's responsibility. Or maybe it's the nursing student she used to be, the one trained to assess situations before panicking. She follows the blood. Each step feels deliberate, heavy. Her rubber-soled shoes make no sound on the marble. The boutique is tomb quiet at this hour, just the low hum of climate control keeping the temperature perfect for delicate fabrics and expensive leather goods. The blood trail gets thicker as she moves deeper into the store. Not just droplets anymore. Smears. Like someone dragged themselves forward, trying to reach something. Daphne's mind races through possibilities. Medical emergency during tonight's event? Someone cut themselves on broken glass? A nosebleed that got out of hand? None of those explanations account for this much blood. Or for why someone would head toward the fitting rooms instead of the exit. She passes the evening gown section. The jewelry display. The shoe collection that starts at $800 a pair. The blood leads to fitting room 3. The door is cracked open. Maybe 6 inches. Just enough to see darkness inside. Daphne stops. Every survival instinct she possesses screams at her to turn around. Walk away. Call Trevor. Call 911. Let someone else handle whatever's behind that door. She thinks about her mother in Atlanta, unable to pay her own medical bills. Thinks about the eviction notice giving her 30 days. Thinks about how she cannot afford to lose this job, cannot afford the questions, the investigation, the scrutiny that comes with finding something terrible. She should leave. Should finish her shift. Should pretend she never saw this. But her father's voice echoes in her head, "Baby girl, you can't walk past someone who needs help. That's not who we are." He died because he couldn't walk past a robbery in progress. Died protecting strangers for pocket change. And Daphne has spent the last 2 years trying to be smarter than that. Trying to survive instead of save. Look where it got her. Broke, desperate, 1 month from homelessness. Maybe safety is overrated. Maybe survival isn't worth it if you lose yourself in the process. Daphne pushes the fitting room door open. The first thing she sees is the man's hand, pale against the dark velvet of the settee. Then his body, twisted at an angle that looks wrong. Then the blood soaked through his white shirt, matted in his black hair, pooled on the expensive fabric beneath him. He's Korean. Early 30s, maybe. Wearing a suit that probably costs 5 figures. His face is turned toward the wall, but she can see his chest moving. Barely. Shallow, labored breaths. Not dead. Not yet. Oh God, Daphne whispers. The man's hand twitches. A soft groan escapes his lips. He's alive. Dying, but alive. And Daphne realizes she's just found something that's going to change her life forever, whether she wants it to or not. Daphne's nursing training kicks in before her brain can stop it. She drops to her knees beside the settee, phone clutched in one hand, fingers already reaching for his neck with the other. Finding the pulse point. Pressing gently. There. Weak. Thready. But present. His skin is cold and clammy. Classic shock symptoms. His breathing is shallow, each inhale a struggle. His lips have a faint blue tinge, not getting enough oxygen. "Sir," Daphne says, keeping her voice steady despite the panic clawing at her chest. "Sir, can you hear me?" No response. She needs to assess the damage. Needs to see where the blood is coming from. She carefully turns his face toward her. Korean features. Maybe 32, 33 years old. Handsome in that sharp-edged way, high cheekbones, strong jawline. Blood mats his black hair on the left side. More blood has soaked through his dress shirt, spreading across his ribs and abdomen. No visible stab wounds on his torso when she quickly unbuttons his shirt. Just extensive bruising, deep purple and black across his ribcage. Internal bleeding, possibly. But the blood in his hair suggests head trauma. Then she sees it in the corner of the fitting room. Vomit. Dark red. Blood mixed with stomach contents, hastily wiped up but still visible on the cream carpet. Poisoning. He's been poisoned. I'm calling an ambulance, Daphne says, already lifting her phone. His eyes snap open. Dark brown. Unfocused. Struggling to see her clearly. But conscious. Alert enough to react. His hand shoots out faster than should be possible for someone in his condition. He grabs her wrist. Hard. Desperate. No. His voice is rough, heavily accented. No hospital. No police. You're dying, Daphne says bluntly, trying to pull her hand back. His grip doesn't loosen. You need medical attention. You need no. He forces himself more upright, gasping with the effort. Pain flashes across his face. They'll find me there. They'll finish what they started. Who? Who will find you? He coughs, and more blood flecks his lips. His other hand presses against his ribs like he's trying to hold himself together. Poisoned. At the dinner tonight. Someone I trusted. His English fragments, Korean words slipping in. He's struggling to stay conscious, to communicate. What dinner? What are you talking about? Here. The event. Mrs. Sinclair, she hosts Korean business executives. I was guest. Someone put something in my champagne. I felt it immediately. He coughs again, harder. Tried to get away. Made it here before. Before he collapsed. Before the poison dragged him under. Daphne's mind races. The private event tonight, she'd seen the setup before her shift. Catering staff, champagne towers, expensive hors d'oeuvres. Exclusive guest list. The kind of gathering where people with money make deals behind closed doors. And someone had used it to poison this man. I'm calling an ambulance anyway, Daphne says. Whatever you're involved in, whatever danger you think you're in, you'll definitely die if you don't get help. I'll die in a hospital too. His eyes lock onto hers, suddenly sharp despite the pain. You don't understand. They have people everywhere. Doctors. Nurses. Security. If I go to a hospital, I'm dead within an hour. The casual way he says it sends ice through Daphne's veins. This isn't paranoia. This is someone who knows exactly how corruption works. Someone who lives in a world where hospitals aren't safe. Then what do you want me to do? Daphne asks. Just watch you die on this settee? He studies her face. Really looks at her. Like he's trying to figure out if she's real or a hallucination brought on by poison. You stayed, he says, voice quieter now. Confused. You saw blood. You found me. But you stayed. Yeah, well, I'm having second thoughts about that. A ghost of a smile crosses his face despite everything. Smart. Most people would have run. Called security. Protected themselves. He coughs again, grimacing. Why didn't you? Daphne doesn't have an answer. Or maybe she has too many answers. Because she's broke and desperate and tired of playing it safe when safety hasn't saved her from anything. Because her father died helping strangers and maybe that's just in her DNA. Because this man is human and dying and she can't walk away from that. Doesn't matter why, she says. What matters is you're running out of time. If you won't let me call 911, then tell me what you need. His hand is still gripping her wrist. She can feel his pulse against her skin, rapid, irregular. My wallet, he manages. Inside pocket. There's a card. Private doctor. Number written on the back. Daphne reaches into his suit jacket, finds the wallet. Expensive leather. She flips it open, several credit cards, a California driver's license with a Malibu address. Name, Seong-ho Kang. $2,300 in cash. The amount of cash alone tells her this man isn't ordinary. She finds the card, Dr. Yoon's medical practice, Koreatown. A phone number is handwritten on the back in blue ink. Call him, Seong-ho says. His breathing is getting worse, more labored. Tell him the eagle is down. He'll understand. The eagle is down? What kind of code, please? His grip on her wrist tightens. Tell him north location. He'll know what it means. He'll come. Daphne stares at this stranger, who's dragging her into something she doesn't understand. Something dangerous. Something that involves codes and private doctors and people who can't trust hospitals. She should refuse. Should walk away. Should protect herself. Instead, she dials the number. It rings once. Twice. 3 times. A male voice answers in Korean. English, Daphne says quickly. I'm calling for Seong-ho Kang. He said to tell you the Eagle is down. North location. Silence on the other end. Then, who is this? Where is he? I found him. He's badly hurt. Poisoned, he says. He won't go to a hospital. Your location. Right now. Daphne gives him the boutique's address. The man, Dr. Yoon, she assumes, tells her to keep Seong-ho conscious and stable. 20 minutes. Maybe less. She hangs up and looks down at the man who's just made her complicit in something she can't take back. Help is coming, she says. Seong-ho's eyes meet hers. Thank you, he whispers. You didn't have to do this. Yeah, Daphne says quietly. I'm starting to realize that. Daphne has 20 minutes to keep a poisoned stranger alive. 20 minutes before Dr. Yoon arrives with whatever shadowy medical team operates outside normal hospitals. 20 minutes to figure out if she's saving someone's life or becoming an accessory to something criminal. Seong-ho's breathing is getting worse. More shallow. More irregular. She needs help. Real help. Someone with actual medical training who can assess what this poison is doing to his system. Daphne pulls out her phone again and scrolls to a name she hasn't called in 3 weeks, Jasmine Chin. They met in nursing school, bonded over late-night study sessions and the shared experience of being broke students trying to save lives while barely surviving themselves. When Daphne had to drop out, Jasmine kept going. Graduated 6 months ago. Now works at Cedars-Sinai in the ER, pulling night shifts just like Daphne, except Jasmine actually uses her training. The phone rings. Once. Twice. 3 times. Girl, it's almost midnight. Jasmine's voice is thick with sleep. This better be life or death. It is. Daphne keeps her voice low, steady. I need you to bring your nursing kit to Sinclair Boutique right now. Don't ask questions until you get here. A pause. Daphne can practically hear Jasmine's brain switching from sleep mode to emergency mode. Daphne, what's going on? I'll explain when you arrive. But I need you. Please. Another pause. Longer this time. Then, give me 15 minutes. Daphne hangs up and turns back to Seong-ho. His eyes are closed again, his face even paler than before. She checks his pulse, still there, but weaker. Stay with me, she says, gently shaking his shoulder. Don't you dare die before your doctor gets here. His eyes flutter open. Bossy, he murmurs. I like that. Yeah, well, somebody has to keep you conscious. Talk to me. Tell me what happened tonight. Seong-ho takes a shaky breath. The dinner party. Mrs. Sinclair, she hosts monthly gatherings. Korean business community. Executives, investors, entrepreneurs. Very exclusive. And you're what? A businessman. A bitter laugh escapes his lips. Something like that. That's not an answer. No, it's not. His eyes meet hers. Because if I tell you the truth, you'll regret helping me. You seem like a good person, Daphne Roland. Good people shouldn't get involved with people like me. Her blood runs cold. How do you know my name? He nods weakly toward her chest. Your employee badge. You're wearing it. Right. Of course. She'd forgotten about the laminated ID card clipped to her cleaning uniform. You said someone you trusted poisoned you, Daphne presses. Who? That's the question. Seong-ho's voice is getting quieter, weaker. Had to be someone at the dinner. Someone who had access to my champagne glass. Someone who knew exactly where I'd be tonight. Do you have enemies? People who want you dead. Many. He says it simply, like he's commenting on the weather. Comes with the territory. Before Daphne can ask what territory he means, she hears rapid footsteps in the boutique. Her heart jumps, but it's Jasmine, bursting through the fitting room door with a large canvas bag slung over her shoulder. Jasmine stops dead when she sees the scene. Her eyes go wide, taking in the blood-soaked settee, the injured man, Daphne kneeling beside him. Maya, what the actual later, Daphne cuts her off. Right now I need you to assess him. Poisoning victim. Vomiting blood. Possible internal bleeding. Vitals are weak and getting weaker. Jasmine's training takes over. She drops to her knees, already pulling supplies from her bag. Stethoscope. Blood pressure cuff. Penlight. All the tools she carries for emergencies. Hi there, she says to Seong-ho, voice calm and professional. I'm Jasmine. I'm going to check your vitals, okay? Seong-ho nods weakly. Jasmine works quickly, checking his pulse, blood pressure, pupil response. Her face grows more concerned with each assessment. BP is 90/60. Pulse is 110 and thready. Pupils are reactive but sluggish. Skin is cold and clammy. She looks at Daphne. He's in shock. Whatever poison this is, it's hitting his cardiovascular system hard. He needs activated charcoal, 4 fluids, possibly dialysis depending on what toxin we're dealing with. His doctor is coming, Daphne says. Should be here in about 10 minutes. His doctor. Jasmine's eyebrows shoot up. Daphne, why aren't we calling 911? This man needs a hospital, not some private, no hospital. Seong-ho's voice cuts through. They'll kill me there. Already have people in place. Jasmine stares at him. Then at Daphne. Then back at him. Oh my God, she says slowly. This man is involved in something illegal. This has organized crime written all over it. Daphne doesn't deny it. Can't deny it. And you're helping him anyway? Jasmine continues, voice rising. Daphne, do you understand what you're doing? If something goes wrong, if he dies, we could both go to prison. Obstruction. Aiding and abetting. Tampering with evidence. Take your pick. He won't die. Daphne says it with more confidence than she feels. We're keeping him stable until his doctor arrives. That's it. That's it. Jasmine laughs, but there's no humor in it. Girl, you just crossed a line you can't uncross. You know that, right? Daphne meets her best friend's eyes. I know, but I couldn't walk away. Jasmine holds her gaze for a long moment. They've known each other for 5 years. Been through nursing school together. Supported each other through breakups and breakdowns and the brutal reality of trying to survive in Los Angeles on barely enough money. If anyone understands why Daphne makes terrible decisions for good reasons, it's Jasmine. Fine, Jasmine says finally, turning back to Seong-ho. But when this blows up in our faces, I'm saying I told you so. Deal. Jasmine pulls out an 4 kit. I'm going to start a line. Get some fluids in him. It won't cure the poisoning, but it might buy us time. Daphne watches her friend work, efficient, confident, everything Daphne could have been if life hadn't gotten in the way. And for just a moment, she wonders if helping this stranger is about saving his life or about proving to herself that she's still the person who wanted to be a nurse. Still the person who believed in helping people even when it cost her everything. Seong-ho's hand finds hers again. Squeezes weakly. Thank you, he whispers. Both of you. Don't thank us yet, Jasmine mutters, taping down the 4 line. We still have to keep you alive for the next 10 minutes. Those might be the longest 10 minutes of Daphne's life. While Jasmine monitors the 4 drip, Daphne turns her attention back to Seong-ho. You said Mrs. Sinclair hosted a dinner party tonight, she says. For Korean business executives. Seong-ho nods weakly. Monthly gathering. Very exclusive. She's connected to the Korean community in Los Angeles. Wealthy families trust her discretion. Why would a boutique owner host business dinners? Because it's not just about clothes. Seong-ho's voice is strained, but clearer now that the 4 fluids are working. Mrs. Sinclair is, how do you say, a facilitator. She creates neutral ground where people can meet, discuss opportunities, make deals. Legal deals. His laugh turns into a cough. Sometimes. Not always. Jasmine shoots Daphne a look that says I told you so, but keeps working, checking Seong-ho's blood pressure again. So you came to this dinner, Daphne continues. Someone poisoned your champagne. Then what? I felt it immediately. Burning in my throat, then my chest. I knew. His jaw clenches at the memory. Tried to stay calm. Excused myself to the restroom. But the poison worked fast. I made it to this fitting room before my legs gave out. Why target you specifically? Seong-ho's eyes close. For a moment, Daphne thinks he's losing consciousness again. But then he speaks, voice barely above a whisper. Because I'm Kim Hoo-jun's cousin. And someone wants to send him a message. The name hangs in the air. Daphne has no idea who Kim Hoo-jun is. But Jasmine's hands freeze mid-adjustment of the four-line. Her face goes pale. The Kim family, Jasmine breathes. Oh my god, Daphne. He's Korean Mafia. Everything clicks into place like a lock turning. The private doctor. The refusal of hospitals. The casual mention of people on payroll. The way Seong-ho talks about enemies like it's normal. The $2,300 in cash he carries like pocket change. Daphne has just saved the life of a gangster. I should have left you, Daphne says, but even as the words leave her mouth, they taste like lies. But you didn't. Seong-ho's eyes open, locking onto hers with unexpected intensity. Why? Why risk yourself for a stranger? Because that's what decent people do, Daphne snaps. Even if apparently you're not one of them. The words come out harsher than she intended. But she's angry. Angry at him for being who he is. Angry at herself for not walking away. Angry at the universe for putting her in this impossible position. Something shifts in Seong-ho's expression. Pain, yes. But also something deeper. Shame, maybe. Recognition. You're right, he says quietly. I'm not decent. I've done terrible things. Hurt people who didn't deserve it. Made choices that keep me awake at night. He pauses, struggling for breath. But right now, in this moment, you're saving my life. And I don't forget debts like that. I don't want to be in debt to a criminal, Daphne says. Too late. His voice is gentle, but firm. The moment you called Dr. Yoon, you became part of this. Part of my world. Whether you like it or not. Jasmine stands abruptly, pulling Daphne aside. Can we talk? Now. They move to the corner of the fitting room, out of Seong-ho's earshot. Daphne, this is serious, Jasmine hisses. The Kim family isn't some small-time operation. They control half of Koreatown. Gambling, protection, imports. My cousin works at a restaurant they own. He says people don't cross the Kims unless they have a death wish. I didn't know who he was when I helped him. That doesn't matter. You know now. And you're still here. Jasmine grabs Daphne's shoulders. Do you understand what this means? These people will remember you. Your face. Your name. You're connected to them now. The weight of it crashes over Daphne. She's spent 2 years trying to stay invisible, trying to keep her head down and survive. And in one night, in one choice, she's made herself visible to the most dangerous people in Los Angeles. What was I supposed to do? Daphne's voice cracks. Just let him die? Yes, that's exactly what you should have done. Jasmine's eyes are wide, almost frantic. Called security. Let them find him. Let the police sort it out. Protected yourself. Like my dad did? The words come out bitter. He protected himself by walking past a robbery, right? Oh wait, no. He stopped to help. And he died for it. Jasmine's expression softens. Your dad was a hero, Daphne. But heroes don't always survive. Maybe survival isn't the point. Before Jasmine can respond, they hear it footsteps in the boutique. Multiple sets. Quick. Purposeful. Professional. Jasmine's hand goes to the small canister of pepper spray on her keychain. Daphne steps protectively in front of Seong-ho, even though she has no idea what she could possibly do to defend him. Relax, Seong-ho says from the settee, his voice stronger now. That's Dr. Yoon. 3 men enter the fitting room. The first is older, maybe 60, gray hair, sharp eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. He carries a large medical bag that looks military grade. This must be Dr. Yoon. The other 2 are younger. Early 30s. Broad-shouldered. Moving with the kind of awareness that comes from training. Not bodyguards. Something more dangerous. Dr. Yoon doesn't waste time with introductions. He goes straight to Seong-ho, speaking rapid Korean while pulling out medical equipment Daphne has never seen outside of hospitals. Within seconds, he has new 4 lines running, portable monitors attached, medications being administered. The 2 younger men move Seong-ho onto a collapsible gurney with practiced efficiency. You saved his life, Dr. Yoon says, finally looking at Daphne. His English is perfect, barely accented. If you'd taken him to a hospital, they would have finished the job. Too many people on peril. Too easy to make a poisoning look like natural complications. The casual admission should shock her. Instead, Daphne just feels numb. Is he going to be okay? She asks. I need to get him to my facility. Flush his system. Counteract the poison. Run tests to identify exactly what toxin they used. Dr. Yoon's eyes are sharp, assessing. He'll survive. But only because you found him when you did. Another 30 minutes and the damage would have been irreversible. He hands her a business card, heavy cardstock, expensive printing. Just a name and phone number. No address. No title. You're the cleaning woman, he asks. Yes. You could have called the police. Walked away. Kept yourself safe. He studies her face. Why didn't you? Daphne is so tired of that question. Does it matter? It matters to him. Dr. Yoon nods toward Seong-ho, who's being carefully secured to the gurney. The Kim family pays its debts. Always. You'll be compensated for your help. I don't want money. Dr. Yoon actually smiles at that. Small. Slight. But genuine. Then you're either very noble or very foolish. In my experience, usually both. He taps the business card in her hand. If you need anything, medical care, protection, employment, call this number. Consider it a standing offer from the family. I just want to forget this happened. That's not an option anymore. Dr. Yoon's voice is kind but firm. You've been seen. You've been involved. The people who poisoned Seong-ho will know someone helped him survive. They'll investigate. They'll find you. Terror floods through Daphne. Are you saying I'm in danger? I'm saying you're under the Kim family's protection now. Which means you're simultaneously safer and more exposed than you've ever been. He glances at Jasmine. Both of you. Anyone who helped him tonight. The men lift the gurney, preparing to leave. Seong-ho's eyes find Daphne's one last time. Thank you, he mouths. Then they're gone, vanishing into the night as quickly as they appeared, leaving Daphne and Jasmine alone in a fitting room that smells like antiseptic and blood and fear. Dr. Yoon moves like someone who's done this 100 times before. He doesn't ask permission. Doesn't introduce himself. Just drops to his knees beside Seong-ho and starts working, fingers checking pulse points, eyes scanning for injuries, voice barking orders in Korean to the two men flanking him. The transformation is immediate. What was a crime scene becomes a field hospital. One of the younger men, tall, muscular, with a scar cutting through his left eyebrow, pulls out a portable gurney from a bag that seemed too small to hold it. The other, shorter, stockier, moving with military precision, sets up what looks like a mobile medical station. For pulse, monitoring equipment, medications in unmarked vials. This isn't improvisation. This is protocol. Dr. Yoon speaks to Seong-ho in rapid Korean, hands already working to replace Jasmine's four-line with something more sophisticated. Seong-ho responds weakly, his answers coming in fragments. Daphne catches words she recognizes from working in Koreatown. Hyung, older brother, Gamsahamnida, thank you, Apeo, it hurts. The rest is beyond her understanding. But she doesn't need to speak Korean to read Dr. Yoon's body language. The tightness around his eyes. The speed of his movements. The way he checks Seong-ho's pupils 3 separate times. This is worse than he expected. What poison did they use? Dr. Yoon asks, finally switching to English. He's addressing Daphne, not Jasmine. I don't know. He said someone put it in his champagne at the dinner party. Symptoms. Vomiting blood. Shock. Difficulty breathing. Bruising across his ribs and abdomen. Dr. Yoon nods, processing. Ricin, possibly. Or aconite. Both popular for this kind of work. Slow-acting enough to let the victim leave the scene. Painful enough to send a message. He looks directly at Daphne. You called me within 2 hours of exposure? I found him maybe 45 minutes ago. Called you about 20 minutes ago. That's why he's alive. Ricin and aconite both have narrow windows for treatment. After 3 hours, the damage becomes irreversible. Dr. Yoon attaches a new monitor to Seong-ho's finger. The screen shows numbers Daphne recognizes from nursing school: heart rate, oxygen saturation, blood pressure. All dangerously low. You saved his life. The words should feel good. Instead, they feel heavy. If she'd taken him to a hospital? Jasmine asks. She's standing in the corner, arms crossed, watching everything with the practiced assessment of an ER nurse. They would have finished what the poison started. Dr. Yoon doesn't look up from his work. Cedars-Sinai has 3 doctors on the Kim family's payroll. 2 at UCLA Medical. 1 at Good Samaritan. All paid very well to look the other way when certain patients arrive. Look the other way? Daphne's stomach turns. You mean they'd let him die? I mean they'd help him die. Wrong medication. Delayed treatment. Small mistakes that compound into fatal outcomes. Dr. Yoon's voice is matter-of-fact, clinical. Like he's describing medical procedures, not murder. Whoever poisoned Seong-ho tonight would have people waiting at every major hospital in Los Angeles. This was a coordinated attack. The 2 younger men lift Seong-ho onto the gurney with practiced efficiency. No wasted movement. No unnecessary jostling. They've done this before, many times before. How long will recovery take? Daphne asks. Depends on the poison. If it's ricin, 3 to 5 days of intensive treatment. If it's aconite, possibly longer. He'll need dialysis to flush his system. Activated charcoal. Antiarrhythmics if his heart starts showing irregular patterns. Dr. Yoon finally stands, pulling off his latex gloves. But he'll survive. Thanks to you. He reaches into his jacket and pulls out a business card. Heavy cardstock. Cream-colored. Just a name, Dr. James Yoon, and a phone number. No address. No credentials. No hospital affiliation. You're the cleaning woman, he asks, studying Daphne's face. Yes. His eyes are sharp behind those wire-rimmed glasses. Calculating. You could have walked away. Called the police. Protected yourself. Why didn't you? Does it matter? Daphne is exhausted by this question. Everyone keeps asking it like there's supposed to be a simple answer. It matters to him. Dr. Yoon nods toward Seong-ho on the gurney. It matters to the family. The Kim family pays its debts. Always. You'll be compensated for your help tonight. I don't want money. The words come out sharper than Daphne intends. Dr. Yoon's eyebrows rise. No. I just want to forget this happened and go back to my life. For the first time since entering the fitting room, Dr. Yoon smiles. It's small. Slight. But genuine. You're either very noble or very foolish, he says. In my experience, usually both. He places the business card in her hand, closing her fingers around it. Keep this. If you need anything, medical care, protection, employment, call this number. Consider it a standing offer. From you. From the family. He glances at Jasmine. Both of you. Anyone who helped Seong-ho tonight is under Kim family protection. That includes your friend. Protection from what? Jasmine demands. Are we in danger? Not from us. But the people who did this. Dr. Yoon pauses, choosing his words carefully. They'll investigate. They'll want to know how Seong-ho survived. They'll look for witnesses, accomplices, anyone who might have interfered. Daphne's blood runs cold. You're saying they'll come after us? I'm saying the family won't let that happen. You're protected now. Both of you. Dr. Yoon's expression is serious. But yes, you should be careful. Vary your routines. Stay aware of your surroundings. Don't discuss tonight with anyone. The 2 men are already moving toward the door, gurney rolling smoothly between them. Seong-ho's eyes are closed, but his chest rises and falls steadily. The monitors show his vitals stabilizing. Dr. Yoon follows, then pauses at the threshold. One more thing. Seong-ho asked me to tell you something. What? Daphne asks. He said thank you. For seeing him as human when you had every reason not to. Dr. Yoon's voice softened slightly. That meant something to him. More than you know. Then they're gone, disappearing into the boutique's shadowed interior, moving with the kind of efficiency that comes from years of practice. Daphne hears the back exit open and close. The sound of a vehicle starting. Then silence. She and Jasmine stand alone in fitting room 3, surrounded by blood and medical waste and the undeniable evidence that their lives just changed forever. Well, Jasmine says into the quiet. That happened. Daphne looks down at the business card in her hand. At the phone number that represents a door she can never close again. Yeah, she whispers. It did. The fitting room looks like a war zone. Blood soaks the velvet settee, dark, dried, spreading across expensive fabric. Medical waste scatters the floor, used for packaging, alcohol swabs, bloody gauze. The carpet shows traces of vomit in the corner. The smell of antiseptic hangs heavy in the air. Daphne stares at the mess, her mind weirdly calm. "We need to clean this up," she says automatically. Jasmine grabs her shoulders, forcing eye contact. "Daphne, stop. Look at me. Are you okay? Do you understand what just happened? I helped someone who needed help. You helped a gangster." Jasmine's voice rises. "A member of the Korean Mafia. Those men will remember you now. Your face. Your name. You're part of this whether you want to be or not." The truth of it hits Daphne like a physical blow. She staggers backward, sitting heavily on the blood-stained settee without thinking. Her hands start shaking. Her breath comes faster. The adrenaline that kept her moving for the past hour drains away all at once, leaving nothing but raw fear. "Oh God," she whispers. "What did I do?" Jasmine sits beside her, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. "You were kind. In a world that's cruel, you were kind. Your daddy would be proud." Her father. Security guard at a grocery store. Shot stopping a robbery. Died for $11.50 an hour. Everyone called him a hero. The store gave them a $500 gift card and moved on. Her mother never recovered, not from the grief, not from the financial devastation, not from the bitter knowledge that her husband's life was worth less than a week's groceries. But he died doing what he thought was right. And maybe that mattered. Maybe that was worth something. "He died being a hero," Daphne says quietly. "And it destroyed our family. Mom's never been the same. I had to drop out of school. We lost everything." "I know. So why did I just do the same thing? Why did I risk everything for a stranger who's probably killed people?" Jasmine doesn't have an answer. Neither does Daphne. They sit in silence for a long moment. Then Daphne stands, wiping her eyes. "Help me clean this up," she says. "I still have 3 hours left on my shift." "You can't be serious." "I'm dead serious. If anyone finds this tomorrow morning, we're both finished." So we clean. We make it look like nothing happened. And we finish the shift like it's a normal night. Jasmine studies her face. "You're compartmentalizing. I'm surviving. There's a difference. Not tonight, there isn't." They work in silence, removing blood from velvet, scrubbing carpet, disposing of medical waste in trash bags they'll dump in the dumpster 3 blocks away. Daphne has cleaned worse during nursing school clinical rotations. Blood doesn't frighten her. Neither does evidence of trauma. What frightens her is the choice she made, the line she crossed, the world she stepped into. But fear doesn't clean fitting rooms. So she pushes it down, locks it away, and focuses on making everything pristine again. By 2:30 a.m., fitting room 3 looks perfect. You'd never know someone almost died here. You'd never know Daphne's life changed in this space. She finishes the rest of her shift on autopilot. Mopping floors, dusting displays, organizing merchandise. The same tasks she does every night, as if this night isn't fundamentally different from every other. At 3:45 a.m., she empties the last trash bag. At 3:58 a.m., she does a final walkthrough of the boutique. Everything is spotless. Perfect. Exactly how it should be when the morning staff arrives. At 4 a.m., she clocks out. Jasmine walks her to the parking lot. They stand beside Daphne's beat-up Honda Civic in the pre-dawn darkness, neither quite ready to say goodbye. "You going to be okay?" Jasmine asks. "I don't know." Daphne's voice is honest. Raw. "Ask me tomorrow. Call me if you need anything. Anything at all. I will." Jasmine hugs her tight. "I love you, girl. Even when you make terrible decisions." "Love you too." Daphne drives home through empty Los Angeles streets, watching the city wake up around her. Streetlights click off. Early morning joggers appear. Coffee shops start turning on lights. Normal people living normal lives. None of them knowing what happened tonight. None of them carrying the weight of a choice that can't be undone. By the time she reaches her studio apartment in Koreatown, the sun is rising. Orange and pink spreading across the sky. She has 12 hours before her next shift. 12 hours to sleep, to process, to figure out what she's gotten herself into. But as Daphne crawls into bed, still wearing her cleaning uniform, she can't shake one thought. She saved someone's life tonight. And nothing will ever be the same. Daphne's phone buzzes at 4:17 a.m. She's in her car, engine running, heat blasting against the pre-dawn cold. Her hands grip the steering wheel, but she hasn't put the car in drive yet. Can't quite make herself leave the parking lot. The text is from an unknown number. "You saved my life tonight. I don't forget that. When I'm recovered, I'll repay this debt properly. SKSK, Seong-ho Kang." Daphne stares at the message, thumb hovering over the delete button. She should erase it. Should pretend she never saw it. Should cut every connection to tonight and move forward like nothing happened. Her thumb hovers. Waits. Doesn't press. Instead, she finds herself typing, "Just don't die." That's repayment enough. She hits send before she can overthink it. The response comes within seconds. Too stubborn for that. And too curious about the woman brave enough to help a stranger bleeding in a boutique. "We'll talk soon, Daphne Roland." Her blood goes cold. He knows her full name. Of course he does. Probably saw it on her employee badge while she was distracted. Or had his people look her up the moment they left the boutique. The Kim family probably knows everything about her now. Where she lives. Where she works. Her mother's address in Atlanta. Her student loan debt. Her eviction notice. Her bank account with $247 in it. All of it. She should be terrified. Should be deleting the messages and blocking the number and maybe even going to the police despite the risks. Instead, she feels something else. Something she can't quite name. Anticipation, maybe. Curiosity. The strange sense that her life just veered onto a completely different path, one that might be dangerous, but at least isn't the slow death of poverty and invisibility she's been living. Daphne puts the car in drive and pulls out of the parking lot. Los Angeles at 4:30 a.m. is a different city. The streets are empty except for delivery trucks and the occasional taxi. Traffic lights cycle through their patterns for nobody. The buildings stand dark and silent, waiting for the city to wake up. Daphne drives on autopilot, muscle memory guiding her through familiar turns. Left on Wilshire. Right on Vermont. Straight through Koreatown where the neon signs are finally dark, where the restaurants are closed, where the karaoke bars have emptied out. This neighborhood is her home now. Has been for 8 months. She knows every corner store, every late-night taco stand, every bus stop. She's built a small life here, not a good life, but a sustainable one. Or at least it was sustainable until tonight. Her phone buzzes again. "Thank you, Daphne, for seeing me as human when you had every reason not to." The message hits harder than she expects. Because that's the truth, isn't it? She saw Seong-ho as human. Not as a criminal. Not as danger. Not as something to avoid. Just as a person who needed help. And he saw her too. Really saw her. Not as the cleaning woman. Not as invisible. But as someone who mattered. Someone worth thanking. Someone worth remembering. How long has it been since someone looked at Daphne like she mattered? Her nursing school professors used to, before she had to drop out. They'd see her potential, her skill, her natural instincts. They'd tell her she was going to be an excellent nurse. But that was 3 years ago. A different life. Since then, she's been invisible. The night shift cleaner nobody notices. The daughter sending money home. The struggling tenant behind on rent. Just another broke person in Los Angeles trying to survive. Tonight, for the first time in years, someone saw her as more than that. And yes, that someone is a member of the Korean Mafia. Yes, that someone is dangerous. Yes, getting involved with him could destroy what's left of her life. But it could also be the only interesting thing that's happened to her since her father died. Daphne pulls into the parking lot of her apartment building. The sun is starting to rise now, pink and orange painting the sky. A new day beginning. She doesn't respond to Seong-ho's message. Just sits in her car, phone in hand, watching the sunrise and thinking about choices. She chose to follow that blood trail. Chose to help instead of walking away. Chose kindness over safety. And now she has to live with the consequences. The Kim family knows who she is. The people who poisoned Seong-ho might come looking for her. Her simple, quiet, invisible life is over. But maybe that's not the worst thing. Maybe invisible wasn't working anyway. Maybe surviving isn't the same as living. Daphne gets out of her car and walks to her studio apartment. 3rd floor. End of the hall. $1,450 a month for 400 square feet and a view of the dumpsters. She unlocks her door, steps inside, locks it behind her. The apartment is exactly as she left it, unmade bed, dishes in the sink, stack of unpaid bills on the counter. Nothing has changed here. But everything has changed. Daphne falls onto her bed without changing out of her uniform. Exhaustion crashes over her. Her body aches. Her mind spins. She should sleep. Should rest. Should prepare for her next shift in 12 hours. Instead, she lies awake, phone clutched against her chest, thinking about a stranger who promised to repay a debt. Thinking about how being seen, really seen, might be worth the danger. Thinking about how her father used to say that the most important choices are the ones you make in seconds, without time to calculate the risks. She stayed. And nothing would ever be the same. Daphne lies in bed, still in her cleaning uniform, staring at the ceiling of her studio apartment. The space is small, cramped. A bed, a dresser, a kitchen that's really just a hot plate and a mini fridge. The bathroom door doesn't close all the way. The walls are thin enough to hear her neighbor's TV at all hours. This is what $1,450 a month buys you in Koreatown. This is what barely surviving looks like. But tonight, this morning, the apartment feels different. Not smaller. Not sadder. Just different. Like she's seeing it through new eyes. Like she's a different person than the woman who left for work 12 hours ago. Her phone lies on the pillow beside her head. She keeps glancing at it, rereading Seong-ho's messages. Thank you, Daphne, for seeing me as human when you had every reason not to. The words hit differently each time she reads them. Because he's right. She had every reason not to see him as human. He's a criminal. Part of an organization that hurts people, extorts businesses, operates outside the law. Dr. Yoon confirmed it without saying it directly. The private doctors. The corruption. The casual mention of people on payrolls. Seong-ho isn't a good person. He admitted it himself. I've done terrible things. But when Daphne looked at him bleeding on that settee, she didn't see a gangster. She saw a human being who needed help. Someone in pain. Someone afraid. Someone vulnerable despite the expensive suit and the powerful family name. She saw him. And somehow, that mattered to him. For 3 years, Daphne has been invisible. The cleaning woman who moves through luxury spaces without being noticed. The daughter sending money home without complaint. The former nursing student whose potential got buried under poverty and crisis. Nobody sees her. Not really. Not as a person with dreams and intelligence and worth beyond her ability to mop floors and pay bills. But Seong-ho saw her. Recognized her choice. Acknowledged what she risked. And maybe that's why she can't delete his messages. Maybe that's why she can't pretend tonight didn't happen. Because being seen, truly seen, feels more valuable than safety ever did. Her phone buzzes one more time. Another message from the unknown number. Sleep well, Daphne. You've earned it. And don't worry, you're protected now. No one will touch you. I promise. The message should comfort her. Instead, it crystallizes everything. She's under the Kim family's protection. Which means she's no longer just Daphne Roland, night shift cleaner. She's Daphne Roland, the woman who saved Seong-ho Kang's life. She's connected now. Involved. Part of a world she never chose but can't escape. The people who poisoned Seong-ho will investigate. They'll look for witnesses. They'll find her name, her face, her address. And the only thing standing between her and potential retaliation is the Kim family's word that she's protected. She's traded invisibility for significance. Safety for mattering. And the terrifying part? She doesn't regret it. Daphne sets her phone on the nightstand and closes her eyes. Her body is exhausted, 48 hours of work in the past 2 days, plus the adrenaline crash from tonight's events. She needs sleep. Needs to shut down her mind and rest. But her thoughts keep spinning. the Black Maid and the Korean Mafia heir. An impossible connection forged in blood and desperation, and the simple act of choosing kindness over self-preservation. What happens next? She has no idea. Maybe Seong-ho recovers and forgets about her. Maybe the Kim family pays her some money and considers the debt settled. Maybe this is just one strange night that fades into memory. Or maybe this is the beginning of something else entirely. Something dangerous. Something transformative. Something that finally pulls her out of the slow death of poverty and invisibility. Either way, she can't go back. The choice is made. The path is set. Daphne drifts toward sleep, her last conscious thought circling back to her father. He died making a split-second choice. Died protecting strangers who didn't protect him back. Died believing that some things matter more than survival. Maybe she understands him better now. Maybe heroism isn't about being rewarded. It's about living with yourself afterward, knowing you did what felt right even when it cost you everything. She stayed when she could have run. She helped when she could have ignored. She saw someone as human when it would have been easier to see them as danger. And nothing will ever be the same. Sleep finally takes her, dreamless, heavy, the kind of exhausted unconsciousness that comes after making choices you can't undo. Tomorrow she'll wake up to a new reality. Tomorrow she'll figure out what comes next. Tomorrow she'll deal with the consequences. But tonight, this morning, she just needs to rest. Because the woman who saved a dying stranger in a luxury boutique needs her strength for whatever comes after. Let's step back from Daphne's story for a moment and look at what really happened tonight. A woman making $16.50 an hour found a dying stranger and chose to help him instead of protecting herself. That's it. That's the whole story distilled to its essence. But within that simple choice lies something profound about human nature, about morality, about the impossible decisions we all face when survival and compassion collide. Think about the last time you faced a moral choice. Maybe not life or death. Maybe just whether to help someone who looked like they needed it. Whether to get involved when it would be easier to walk away. Whether to risk something, time, money, safety, for a stranger. What did you choose? Most of us choose safety. And there's no shame in that. Survival is a legitimate priority. Protecting yourself and your family matters. Nobody should judge you for keeping your head down and avoiding trouble. But Daphne didn't choose safety. And her choice reveals something crucial about what it means to be human in a world that increasingly tells us to mind our own business. She chose kindness over self-preservation. Connection over isolation. Seeing someone as human over seeing them as a threat. And yes, the person she helped turned out to be involved in organized crime. Yes, her choice dragged her into a dangerous world. Yes, she might have just ruined her life. But here's the question nobody wants to ask. Does someone's past determine whether they deserve to live? Seong-ho Kang is a criminal. He admitted doing terrible things. He's part of a family that operates outside the law, that hurts people, that corrupts systems meant to protect us. Does that mean he should bleed out on a velvet settee while someone with medical training watches? This is where morality gets complicated. Where the easy answers fall apart. Where we have to actually think about what we believe versus what we say we believe. Daphne didn't know who Seong-ho was when she helped him. She just saw someone dying. Someone in pain. Someone who needed help. And she gave it. That choice, that split-second decision to kneel beside a stranger instead of walking away, reveals more about character than 1,000 words about values ever could. Because true character isn't what you do when it's easy. It's what you do when every logical part of your brain screams at you to run, but something deeper whispers stay. Now let's talk about the invisible people. Daphne represents millions of workers who keep our world functioning while remaining completely unseen. The night shift cleaners. The security guards. The housekeepers and janitors and maintenance staff who move through wealthy spaces without being acknowledged. These are the people who mop floors in boutiques where one handbag costs more than they earn in 6 months. Who clean offices where executives make decisions worth millions while earning poverty wages themselves. Who work 40, 50, 60 hours a week and still can't afford rent. They're invisible not because they're unimportant, but because acknowledging them would force uncomfortable questions about inequality, about fairness, about the systems we've built that concentrate wealth while distributing misery. Daphne has been invisible her entire working life. Rich people discuss business deals in front of her like she's furniture. They leave messes expecting her to clean them. They never say thank you. They never make eye contact. Until Seong-ho. He saw her, recognized her choice, acknowledged what she risked, treated her like a human being whose actions mattered. And maybe that's why this story resonates. Because we all want to be seen. We all want to matter. We all want our choices to count for something beyond just surviving another day. The power dynamics here are fascinating too. Daphne is black, female, working class, struggling to survive. Seong-ho is Korean, male, wealthy, connected to power. They exist in completely different worlds. Under normal circumstances, they would never meet, never interact, never see each other as fully human. But crisis creates connection. Desperation forces unlikely alliances. And sometimes the most profound human moments happen when all the usual barriers break down and two people just see each other. Not as categories. Not as stereotypes. Not as threats or opportunities or obstacles. Just as humans. This is what the story is really about. Not crime. Not danger. Not even the specific events of one night in a Beverly Hills boutique. It's about the fundamental human need for connection. For recognition. For mattering to someone, anyone, in a world that tells most of us we're disposable. Daphne's father died being a hero for $11.50 an hour. The world called him brave and moved on. His family got destroyed financially while his memory got turned into a feel-good story about sacrifice. But he made a choice too. Just like Daphne. He saw people in danger and couldn't walk away. Maybe that's hereditary. Maybe it's learned. Maybe it's just who some people are, the ones who can't ignore suffering even when ignoring it would be smarter, safer, easier. These are the people who change things. Not through grand gestures or heroic speeches, but through small choices made in critical moments when nobody's watching. They stay when others run. They help when others hide. They see humans where others see problems. And yes, sometimes it costs them. Sometimes they pay dearly for their compassion. Sometimes the world punishes kindness and rewards selfishness. But sometimes, just sometimes, their choice matters. Changes someone's life. Alters the trajectory of events. Creates connection where there was only division. Daphne saved Seong-ho's life. But maybe he saved something in her too. Her sense of purpose. Her belief that she matters. Her connection to the person she used to be before poverty ground her down to just surviving. One choice. One moment. One decision to stay instead of run. That's all it takes to change everything. The question is, what choice will you make when your moment comes? Now let's examine what Daphne's story reveals about the world we live in. First, the wealth gap. Sinclair and Associates Boutique isn't just a setting, it's a symbol. A place where handbags cost $28,000 while the woman cleaning the floors earns $16.50 an hour. Where one evening gown represents 3 years of Daphne's salary. Where the wealthy gather for exclusive events while the workers scrub blood from carpets at midnight. This isn't fiction. This is reality in every major city. The contrast between extreme wealth and desperate poverty, existing side by side, separated only by the fiction that hard work leads to success. Daphne worked hard, pulled straight A's in nursing school, had professors who believed in her talent. But talent doesn't matter when your mother has a stroke and someone needs to pay the bills. Intelligence doesn't matter when you're choosing between rent and food. Potential doesn't matter when the system is designed to keep you struggling. She represents untapped human capital, millions of people with skills and intelligence who never get the chance to use them because poverty is a full-time job. Then there's healthcare. The way Dr. Yoon casually mentions doctors on payroll at major hospitals. The way Seong-ho knows he'd be killed in an emergency room. The way the system that's supposed to save lives can be corrupted into ending them. This reveals something darker about healthcare in America. It's not just expensive. It's not just inaccessible for many. It's also vulnerable to the same corruption that affects every other system where money and power intersect. Daphne couldn't afford to finish nursing school. Her mother can't afford necessary medications. To speech. Meanwhile, wealthy criminals have private doctors who make house calls with military-grade medical equipment. The irony is brutal. The people who need healthcare most can't access it. The people who can afford it have so much access they can corrupt it for their own purposes. Consider how marginalized communities learn to navigate danger differently than privileged ones. When Daphne finds blood, her first thought isn't call the police. It's calling for help might create more problems than it solves. She's learned from experience that being a Black woman in a luxury boutique means every problem becomes suspicious. Every question becomes an accusation. This is survival knowledge passed down through generations. Don't draw attention. Don't create problems. Don't trust that systems will protect you because they're designed to protect other people. Seong-ho operates under similar logic from a different angle. Don't trust hospitals. Don't trust police. Don't assume official channels will keep you safe. His family has built parallel systems, private doctors, personal security, codes, and protocols because they know mainstream institutions won't serve them. Two people from completely different worlds, both forced to navigate around systems that don't work for them. Both outsiders in different ways. This brings us to cultural intersections. Daphne is Black American. Seong-ho is Korean. Both exist in Los Angeles, a city built on immigration and diversity, yet still deeply segregated by race and class. Under normal circumstances, their worlds would never touch. The cleaning woman and the Mafia heir don't cross paths. They don't see each other. They don't interact as equals. But crisis breaks down barriers. Suddenly, the usual hierarchies don't matter. Suddenly, they're just two humans, one dying, one with the skills to help. And in that moment, something shifts. They see each other across every dividing line society has drawn between them. Now consider the code of honor. Even in criminal organizations, there are rules. Dr. Yoon says it clearly, the Kim family pays its debts. Always. This matters. Because it means even in a world operating outside the law, there are structures of loyalty and obligation. Seong-ho doesn't just say thank you and disappear. He promises to repay the debt. And according to his family's code, that promise is binding. Compare that to the legitimate world Daphne inhabits. The boutique owner who pays minimum wage. The landlord threatening eviction. The hospital that billed her mother thousands for basic care. The student loan companies demanding payment for an education she couldn't finish. Where's the honor in that system? Where's the loyalty? Where's the promise that hard work will be rewarded, that playing by the rules will lead to security? The legitimate world has failed Daphne completely. Meanwhile, the criminal world is offering her protection, promising to honor its debts, treating her with more respect in one night than the legal system has shown her in years. That's the bitter truth this story reveals. Sometimes the people operating outside the law show more humanity than the people enforcing it. Finally, there's the cost of being seen versus the price of invisibility. Daphne spent years being invisible. Safe. Ignored. Surviving but not living. One night of being seen, really seen, and her entire life changes. She's under the Kim family's protection, which means she's simultaneously safer and more exposed than ever before. Being invisible kept her safe from some dangers while exposing her to others: poverty, exploitation, the slow grinding down of potential. Being seen offers different dangers, but also different possibilities. Neither option is good. Both carry costs. But at least being seen means mattering to someone. At least being seen means your choices count for something beyond just surviving another day. This is what desperate circumstances do. They force impossible choices between bad options. And the people facing these choices don't get to opt out. They just have to decide which risk they can live with. Daphne chose visibility. Chose significance. Chose to matter even if it meant danger. And that choice reveals everything about who she is and what she values. So here we are at the end of Daphne's story. Or maybe it's just the beginning. A Black woman earning minimum wage found a Korean Mafia heir bleeding in a luxury boutique. She chose to help him instead of protecting herself. And in that choice, that split-second decision, both of their lives changed forever. But this isn't really a story about crime or danger or even the specific events of one night in Beverly Hills. It's a story about what it means to choose humanity when survival tells you to run. About what it costs to be seen in a world designed to keep you invisible. About the connections we forge in desperate moments when all the usual barriers break down. Daphne's story continues beyond this night. We don't know if the Kim family keeps their promises. We don't know if Seong-ho recovers and honors his debt. We don't know if the people who poisoned him come looking for witnesses. But we know this: Daphne made a choice that mattered. She stayed when she could have run. She helped when she could have ignored. She saw another human being when it would have been safer to see a problem. And maybe that's enough. Maybe the impact of our choices isn't measured in outcomes, but in the moment itself, in who we choose to be when nobody's watching and everything's at stake. The Black Maid and the Korean Mafia boss. Two people from different worlds who never should have met. But crisis created connection. Desperation forced recognition. And for one night, they saw each other as something more than the roles society assigned them. That's the universal truth buried in this story. We all want to be seen. We all want to matter. We all want our lives to count for something beyond just surviving until tomorrow. The question is what you're willing to risk to make that happen. Your moment is coming. Maybe not tonight. Maybe not in a luxury boutique with blood on marble floors. But someday you'll face a choice between safety and right. Between walking away and staying. Between protecting yourself and helping someone who needs it. What will you choose? If this story moved you, if it made you think, if it reminded you that one choice can change everything, smash that like button right now. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss stories like this. We're building a community of people who believe in the power of human connection, and we want you to be part of it. Drop a comment telling us, what would you have done in Daphne's position? Would you have stayed or walked away? And where are you watching from? Let us know your country or city. We love seeing our global family connect over these incredible stories. Share this with someone who needs to hear it today. Someone struggling to make ends meet. Someone feeling invisible. Someone who needs to be reminded that their choices matter. Most importantly, remember this: you never know when your moment will come. The moment when you have to choose between safe and right, between easy and meaningful, between surviving and actually living. When that moment comes, choose wisely. Because that choice will define who you are far more than any words ever could.